Hello YouTube, Ronin Kaze. Something completely different today. I'm in the division and I'm doing Grand. I have a new screen recorder. I'm in Grand Central Station. It's a pretty good mission. I like it. You're fighting uphill and then you do some other stuff. But the bigger thing today, YouTube. And right before I get to the topic, if you could like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, comment. I'm turning the comments on now lately. I would appreciate it. Or if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you could do that as well. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, YouTube, you may have seen the title, and that's the McDonald's app. For those of you, I doubt this, worldwide, everyone pretty much knows what a McDonald's is. If you have YouTube, you probably have heard of a McDonald's or seen a McDonald's. It's different in each country. I've been fortunate enough to travel to different countries. Specifically, when I went to Europe, specifically Germany, it was different. Coke tasted different. But I went to Shanghai once for a job, and I was there 3 weeks. And I would joke with my German colleagues, that's an American consulate. You know, wherever you go in the world, if you go to McDonald's, it's American consulate. Ha, 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 YouTube. And you saw that app first off. So I'm going to kind of give you some background. I'm waving my hand across the screen. Put a pin in that. Let me tell you something. So my last video was I installed on one of my computers Catchy OS and then installed 5 different desktop environments. It got a little bit clunky because adding all those environments added a bunch of other programs. So what I did, I'm going to redo that or update that. I made a virtual machine out of Arch. It was hard to load, YouTube. But I eventually put it into like a text mode, put a Arch Linux distro in there, and then I proceeded to load like, I don't know, 10 different desktop environments, and they didn't load all the bloat. So I kind of got a bare bones system. So I'm going to show you that, and that'll give you a really good indication. It'll be easier for me to, do it more systematically so you can see that. Why didn't I do that first? For a lot of reasons, but I'll talk about that in that video. McDonald's, YouTube. When I was a kid, McDonald's, I'll tell you the first time I really remember having McDonald's. When I was a boy, I lived in Detroit, Michigan, and we lived next door to some folks. And I went over their house one day. They had a Alaskan Husky, and I was eating crackers, saltines. And I was going to put one in my mouth, and the dog went up to bite the cracker, and it bit me in the lip. So I was rushed to somewhere. Don't know. And my lip was swollen. It was really big, and they had to put stitches in and everything. But it was one of the only times my mom ever let us have McDonald's. So my sisters were happy, and I was happy. I couldn't enjoy it because of my lip, but I got to have McDonald's. Later on in my life, my parents were divorced. When we never had McDonald's at my mom's. I lived with her mainly all the time, except for the weekends my dad would pick me. My dad didn't get me every weekend, but he did, I guess, the best he could. But when we were out with my dad, I was getting McDonald's. I eventually moved in with my dad for like my sophomore, junior, and senior year in high school, secondary school, if that's what secondary school is, high school in the United States, in Oxford, Michigan, famous for other things. And I can remember when they came out with chicken nuggets, right? So that was a whoop-de-doo thing. And we had a drive-thru, and it was all like when our town got a McDonald's, like we arrived. When I was in college, it was a commuter. The first college I went to, there was a Burger King on campus, so I kind of went to Burger King. But McDonald's was a place, it was cheap, fast food. Right? And it was the same wherever you went. Some people don't like that, but when you're away from your hometown, I went to school in a different state in the United States from where I grew up, and so it was kind of nice that that was kind of familiar. When I was in the military, right, that was one of those things you'd treat yourself to. You'd be on a boat for 2 weeks. In my case, I'd be on a boat for 2 weeks at a time, and you just wanted some normal food and just a normal experience after being on a boat and moving and all that other kind of stuff. So McDonald's is kind of interwoven in your life. It's not something that you love. It's not like you, but it's just something that you go to. I guess way, way back in the day, it'd have been like a diner in a town if you did that kind of stuff. And of course, when I got married and I had kids, it was a cheap way to feed the kids, right? It was really inexpensive. It wasn't every night. My wife cooked, but it was a treat we could give the kids. So during so when I had a job, after I got out of the Coast Guard and I had a job, I drove a lot. So I drove like between 150 and 200 miles a day back and forth to the office eventually. And so sometimes I'd stop at McDonald's and eat on the way home, which probably led to me getting fatter once I got out of the Coast Guard. So during the pandemic, I would go out, I wouldn't go in the store, but I'd go through the drive-thru and I'd get a Diet Coke for like $1. Then they raised them to like $1.29. Then they raised them $1.50, and then now they're like $2. And to be healthier, I didn't eat there that much. And I would maybe only get some chicken nuggets, like a 4-piece or something, just something, to tide me over while I was driving home. But when they start raising the prices on the drinks, if you use the app, you could get the $1 drink for a while. So I switched to using the app. And what I noticed is when I used the app, I was faster in the line. I just gave them my code and then I went forward. And I didn't have to jerk around and pay and all that stuff. So how does this tie into anything, Ronin? When you're playing games, right, there's some, unless it's your first time and it's a different type game, but most games that I'm playing at this point, those MMORPGs, this is a good part. The weapons I have, you can see I have like a pulse build that's kind of gives me a radar ping to where everyone is, one ping facility. And then I'm not going to put that in there again. And then I throw out these seeker mines that go after people. They're like drone mines that go kill the people. Unalive the people. Sorry, YouTube. Unalive the video game characters, YouTube. So I started using this app and realized it speeds my way through this whole process. Number one, if I don't know what I want, then I go there, go in the parking lot, figure out what I want, then do it, pay for it on the app, and then go collect my food. So over the years now, the 5-6 years that I've been using the app and all that stuff, there's people that will just sit in the drive-thru and for hours not figure out what they want. Now, YouTube, it's like going to a Subway. And Subways are ubiquitous. Another chain of fast food that's ubiquitous. And that someone hems and haws at the threshold of ordering at Subway baffles me. You didn't know what you wanted? You've never been in a Subway, knows how it works? And there's people behind you, and you can't figure out, say, hey, when I go into Sub, because that person is a sociopath. Not a psychopath. They're not trying to, maybe they are. Maybe they want to inflict me pain. But they just don't care about anyone else. Right, Roxy, I agree with you. And that's the same thing when people don't use the app. Because when you don't use the app, you're just making a slow process. It's like someone in an MMO that doesn't know the battles or anything. Worse yet, YouTube. It gives you free food if you use it. Now, I've talked to some millennials or Gen Zers, whatever ones are like 25 to 35. And I don't use the app. Like it's some great thing. Your generation is supposed to be Joe Technology, and you're the generation that can't afford a house. Sorry, you two. If you want to save some money, use the app because, and here comes the math part. No one said there would be math today, YouTube. There is math. if you got a Big Mac every day, and that's why we're talking about Big Macs, that's going to be our unit of currency, kind of like a club sandwich, kind of like an MMORPG. If you get a Big Mac, right now where I live, Big Mac's around $6. For every dollar you spend, you get 100 points. So that means it's 600 points. That means if you got one Big Mac every week, that's 30,000 points. That's 5 free Big Macs a year. That's not fries and drinks you're getting. That's just 5 free Big Macs. So that's a way that speeds you up through the line, YouTube. Speeds you up at checkout. Gives you free food. That people don't use the app. Now, you might say, I don't want the man tracking my... Do you use a credit card? Then what are we doing here? Now, if you're still hunkering around cash and you're going to McDonald's, why don't you go to the grocery store, Luddite, and buy your food there? And why would you use this expensive food? McDonald's is expensive anyways. It's a luxury, not really a luxury, but it's a... So, if you see that person behind you that's smacking their head because you are too much of a groover to get the app or do your order ahead of time, that's what's happening behind you, YouTube. That's the Big Mac problem. Want to save money? Use the app. Want to not be a pain in the butt to everyone in society? Use the app. Want to just live a better life? Don't even go to McDonald's. Now, McDonald's, I'm a lifelong customer, and I probably will be because it's convenient. And the app is one of the best deals. Let me tell you one last thing. Not getting paid by McDonald's, but, of course, I sample fast food places and their apps. Taco Bell just changed how they're going to deliver the apps. Other companies say, I know you had all those points. We're getting rid of that, Subway said. And now every fourth sandwich, you're going to get a McDonald's. It's cut and dried what you're going to get. And nothing sweeter than a free hamburger when you don't have any money. Now, one more thing to you folks out there. But I don't want them to track me. If you have a cell phone, they're tracking you already. You might as well learn to do your payments on your phone. Why? Because if you ever forget your wallet, just if you're going up to get gas at the gas station or buy some cigs, I don't smoke. Whatever you're buying up there, you can buy stuff. You don't even need to have your wallet. Avail yourself to the technology. You can't escape it. I want you to think about this. Really, searching is pattern recognition. I'm a horrible sniper, by the way, YouTube. This is when you want one of those slower mice, right? So you're not overshooting constantly. You are going to be found because you're absent from everything. I'm not telling you to go out and stick out like a sore thumb, but at the same time, when you don't have any footprint, you're going to be conspicuous. And people are going to say, what are you trying to hide? And if you don't believe me, I want you to do some research, YouTube. I'm giving you homework today. Find out why and how a zebra stripes work. You might have already seen it in your shorts. But the thing is, you just don't want to be picked out of the herd. There's safety in the herd. And you would be nice to the people behind you if you use this app. So, what is the lesson for today? I got more desktop environment. It will be better. I really like KDE because as I started using those different ones, some of them are nice because you can just feel that they're lighter weight. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, your wallpaper. Spend some time and get wallpaper you like. And for you codgers out there and grandmothers, this is for you. Let me down myself up. Flatten down my hair here, YouTube. Take the shine off that forehead, YouTube. The grandmothers out there, get all the pictures of your grandchildren, and then you have someone to tell you how to do the setting where your wallpaper will change every 5 minutes to another picture of your grandchild. Then every day you're on your computer or wherever you're at, you can see your grandchildren. God bless your grandchildren. Quit bothering us with them. We've seen those pictures. So YouTube, consider using the app and speeding up your way through these lines. For the groovers out there that are too good to use the app, get over yourself. This is triggering. I put the trigger alert on it. Comment if you want. I'm ready for the full force, and I'll accept it. I appreciate your comments, whether they're negative or positive. That someone takes the time to do that, I appreciate it. If you're trying to hide and use cash, just stay at the store. Or get one of those things that hide it. You can get technology that outsmarts the technology. That's another talk for another time. It's the one guy I told you about that has a pretty good website. He's a little bit dry and he does scripted stuff, but it gave some answers. Like these virtual credit cards that are fantastic because you can't track you down, but it costs money, so more money to pay. The other thing I'm investigating is VPN or DNS. I know everyone has a big explanation of DNS, but really what you want to know is what DNS I should use and what am I going to get out of it. This is that you ultimately are going for. You don't want the ads, so when you talk to your phone, you don't want the ads to follow you around. That's what we're going to shoot for. So, Ronin Kaze, get the app. Big Macs are not the problem. Bye.